Hello everyone and welcome back to Send It's Weather channel, and today we are bringing back another edition of the summer updates. We'll be having a look at the CFS longer range models today. What was that movement? Must be feeling jolly. We have a look at the CFS models as well as a few other features such as the ECM longer range to look into the start of June. Now again, before I begin, I want to say for all your comments come flooding in. It's just a bit of fun. It's an experimental model. We're looking for any trends and probabilities. The last couple of weeks have definitely shown a chance, and a quite high chance, of quite a volatile and hot June, which some of you might like, some of you might not. Some of you might be after the unsettled weather, which the thunderstormy weather would bring with the volatility from the south. But let's see if that trend continues today. And let's have a look at the other months as well, because you never know, it could be right. The CFS might be setting the trend, because the Metaphys run said that last week. So if you do enjoy today's video, consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. I really do appreciate your continued support. So we're going to start off then, we're going to have a look on the weather outlook to start with, and we're going to have a look at the CFS midnight run, 500 millibar height anomalies. Today we're going to start with May. Well, I mean, if this comes off for May, this isn't really summer, but count this as a little bonus feature. Send it's giving you little Brucey bonuses. He's also got his mug as well. There you go. Not self-promoting. Anyway, so with the May chart, we've got high pressure to our north and west, and we've got low pressure over Scandinavia and Denmark. Winds are in from a chilly northeasterly. Looks like pretty bad. Looked like a pretty bad May if that came off. Quite possibly unsettled, but we're protected by the high pressure towards Greenland, so it looks like quite a cool month. Might even be some snow for you there in Scotland, James, hey? You'd be excited for that, wouldn't you? But look at this for June from the midnight run. High pressure over into the east of the country. This is going to be very, very nice. Winds are up from a southerly direction. We've got low pressure to the west. That's going to be trying to bring in unsettled conditions. Mixing with that hot air. Could be quite a volatile month again. Low pressure in the Atlantic, high pressure to our east. The clashing of air masses, and you could see some big thunderstorms. Warm air mixes with warm, dry air mixes with Atlantic cooler, fresher air masses. Clash, boom, bang, and you get thunderstorms. That's what's going to happen with that one. So it looks like a pretty warm, maybe even hot month. Temperatures probably ranging around the 30s at times, with some hot spells coming up from Spain there. Anyway, enough glossing around. July. Well, July looks drier. That low pressure centred more northwards in the Atlantic, mid-Atlantic, well, it's a mid-Atlantic ridge, what's he on about? Low pressure centre just to the south of Greenland. High pressure's just over and to the east of the country. Winds are in from an easterly direction. That looks slightly cooler, but again, it's still above average probably, and probably quite a dry month. Temperatures probably ranging in the mid to high 20s. For August then, this also looks pretty good. Pretty strong region of high pressure to our north and east. Winds are in from the east again. That looks like a pretty strong month, I must say. If that came off, that looks like a pretty pleasant month. September looks quite good. High pressure's over the top of the country. It's extending up towards Greenland. That looks like a pretty dry month. It looks like we could see some droughts though with this, I must say. Besides June, which could be a quite wet month, but quite a warm month. October looks dry as well. November looks, well, it looks cyclonic, anticyclonic. November looks very warm. Well, I say very warm. It's November, God's sake. But temperatures probably would be in the mid-teens there, with those winds up from the south. And then December, well, we don't care, but it's so far out, don't worry about it. But we might as well look. High pressures to our north and east. Winds are in from an easterly direction. That could be quite a cold start to December, but again, it always shows this. It's a long way off. No point looking at that. So today, for our edition, we are going to have a look at the CFS 6Z run. I'm not going to show you the whole chart because what's the point of that? But we're going to go to the 1st of June. So there we go. We'll go straight there now. And boom. So on the 1st of June, like we've been seeing in the previous updates, high pressures to our east, low pressures to the west. Winds are in from a pretty good or mild southerly direction. Pretty warm as well, not too bad. Now let's see if this trend of it being quite unsettled and stormy and quite warm continues. Well, we've got areas of low pressure pushing in from off the Atlantic to start. There is some warm air mixed in, but again, it's not ridiculous. It looks quite like a barrage of Atlantic weather systems to start with. That looks like quite stormy. Area of low pressure pushing up from the south. relatively cool there actually, so probably not. It looks like quite a mixed start to June, probably a bit below average actually with this, because we've got areas of low pressure rattling in from off the Atlantic. It's not like we're in these yellows, these 0 to 5 degree ice firms, but it's kind of around average really. But it's quite unsettled, particularly in the south for a change with this run. Now to the middle of June, I should say, winds do come in from more of a southerly or southwesterly as low pressures towards Greenland and Iceland, high pressures to over France, and we're bringing up the wind from a southerly or southwesterly direction. So we are dragging in some warmer air there. There you go, 10 degree ice firm in. High pressure then becomes established over Western Europe, so that's bringing up a southerly wind as well. Low pressures to our north. Looks pretty nice there. Continued southerly or southwesterly winds. That could be quite interesting. That could bring some thunderstorms to the east. It does look quite dry and cyclonic though. There's an anticyclone towards Greenland as well. It's like quite anticyclonic here, I should say. Not cyclonic. Cyclonic's when it's wet, but anticyclonic's when it's quite dry. Winds are in from the northwest there, but we're actually bringing in some warm air with that. Doesn't look ridiculously hot, though. Doesn't look ridiculously hot. Winds are in from the north at the very end. High pressure retrogresses to our west. We're actually seeing the 0 degree ice firm appearing to the north of Scotland. That's pretty rare. Low pressure then to start July, so it's pretty mixed June, but probably around to slightly above average. With probably some thunderstorms around, not as much as we've seen recently with them quite hot air masses and quite thundery and quite volatile. Probably quite unsettled further northwards and westwards. In the south as well at the start of the month particularly, but not too bad. Now with the 3rd of July, you can see this is a pretty chilly month, pretty chilly chart if it was like December, but again it is July, so it's nothing ridiculous. You can see the high pressures to our west, low pressures over Scandinavia, winds are in from a northerly. That's going to keep the temperatures down, looks quite cool, quite very cool actually. And quite dry still. It looks quite dry. Then the Atlantic decides wants to play again, and starts dragging in, coming in from off the Atlantic. But again, we're not bringing any warm air masses in really. That low pressure there is dragging up winds from the south into the south, and winds from the southwest into the south. That could be bringing some thunderstorms to the far southwest, and that could be quite interesting for thunderstorm lovers there. Looks quite unsettled on the 10th of July, with that area of low pressure being elongated across Western Europe. That looks pretty wet and a washout. As we go on though, again it's round to slightly below average here. High pressure then tries to establish, or as Azores High gets established to our southwest, it doesn't really make any inroads. Tries to bring in some warm air masses. It does for a time. Here we go. It does happen successfully. Winds are in from the east. Pretty mild. Then, here we go. This is what we're more talking about. High pressure centred just to our east. Low pressure's out to the west. Winds are in from southerly. That looks quite volatile if that area of low pressure runs into that. Quite warm air masses. There's 15 degrees firm getting to the south there. Looks pretty mild to me. Here we go. Now we're into the proper warm temperatures. But again, high pressure towards Greenland, bringing down this cool northeasterly to northerly wind, moves them 10 degrees firms away, and turns it cooler again. So it's very mixed. That looks pretty good on the 3rd of August, though. High pressure's just to our south and west. Winds are in from a northwesterly. You'd say it's probably quite chilly there, but we're actually bringing in some quite warm air masses, quite hot air masses. Into the very long term, though, into the 10th of August, we see low pressure running in, but it is very volatile there. That's going to be bringing in a lot of thunderstorms, quite thundery activity there on the 10th of August, I'd expect with that. So quite changeable, quite wet as well. That's thundery as well on the 19th of August, particularly for central England there, wrapping in those 10 degree ice firms, winds are in from the east for the north. That's going to be bringing in some more quite big thunderstorms, I'd say there. Quite good for anyone that likes thunderstorms, I'd say. Quite unsettled, though, as well. So to end that, winds go into, as you'd expect for September. High pressure then gets established to our east. Low pressure's out to our west. Winds are in from a proper southerly direction. So that's bringing up the warm air masses. There you go. 15 degrees firms to south. Where was that all summer, right? For some of you, that's what you'll be saying. But I would expect the temperatures with that to hover around the mid-20s for much of the month, maybe even into the low 30s at times, with those warm air masses being wafted up from the south and southwest. But it looks like pretty average to slightly above average summer. June does look unsettled, but not as unsettled as we've seen in previous updates, and not as thundery. But it still looks, there could be some thunderstorm potential. August, though, bloody hell, it looks like a right thundery month. if that was correct, well, we'll have to wait and see if it is correct or not. Now I'm going to bring up the other charts and we'll go through those in a moment. Well, if you expect me to say, oh, it's going to be a thundery June, well, who knows with this. This is the ECMWF forecast, mean sea level pressure anomalies from the 26th of May to the 2nd of June, to the start of summer. It depends what you count it as. 21st of June counts as the summer solstice day, but we're just going to use this as the date. So with this run, it's got low pressure just to our west. Not much to say. I mean, could there be some high pressure to our east and north, which could bring up a southerly wind? And spot what we've been saying, that is the worst ever. I do apologise. Who knows? What are the temperature anomalies like? Here we go. Temperature anomalies for the UK are 1 to 3 degrees above average, so maybe we are bringing in a southerly wind, although it does look quite mild for much of Western Europe. Now, what about that final week, though, the 2nd to the 9th of June? Well, I'm sorry, but I can't tell you anything. Low pressures to our east and northeast. Could high pressure be in the Atlantic? That could be bringing down a cooler northwesterly to northerly. What's the temperature anomalies looking like? Well, they're 1 to 3 degrees above average, so a pretty mild start to June. And with that, probably quite wet as well, with low pressure sat out to our west at many times. But again, it's 5 to 6 weeks out. How trustworthy are the ECM charts? Not these ones anyway. They haven't been this summer, but at any point recently in the last year. But again, they are experimental. They do go out a long way and they change daily. So one day it could look completely different if you looked at these tomorrow. But anyway, I thought I thought that was quite an interesting update for you all. And yeah, if you did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe. Join my Discord server, link down below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone.